Alright, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Talk About Transformers. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Studio Series Camaro Concept Bumblebee. I want to say they released the last night version in a 2-pack with the Beetle, and then they released the Camaro and the Clunker, and this is not any of those. This is the movie, the original Transformers 2007 movie Camaro concept that he gets. I don't have the box. It's been a long time since I bought the figure, so I don't know what the number is. I'll be looking it up to put it in the video description. Excuse me. Anyway, we'll go ahead and take a look at his car mode. I got a little bit of black paint there, but that's okay. Headlights are picked out. These fog lights are black. The grill is black, both areas, and then you've got some gold paint for the Chevy logo. You've got the stripes going from where they stop all the way to the window, side of the car. Just molded details down the side of the car. In the back, lots of molded details, but only the tail lights are painted on the back red. So the logo's not painted, none of the pipes or venting are painted. And then you've got the stripes continuing on the back, and they actually go all the way to the window this time. Going down this side, everything's pretty much the same. The wheels have the rims painted silver. There's the top of the car. There's the bottom. He's got visible head syndrome, and you can see his forearms and his legs mushed up in there, so it's going to transform pretty much like a Bumblebee will. Just they improved it from the last Bumblebee I reviewed, which I did say. He comes with one accessory, which is his gun. It is unpainted, but nicely molded, and it has 2 tabs on it right here. I dropped it. Alright, 2 tabs, and so you're going to take the 2 tabs, and he's got 2 notches, and you're going to plug it in, and that's how you can store it on the back of the car. I'll put it back down here off to the side while we do size comparisons. First and foremost, as always, we have our Rubik's Cube, the big Cube. We have the Gormagala statue. We have his past self, if that's what you want to call it. I like to think of the Bumblebee movie as a soft reboot instead of a prequel, with enough nods that it acknowledges the original series more than it is to come before it. But there you have that. And this is going to be the next deluxe review. Earthrise Wheeljack. And he's got his weapon on the back, so I already have the weapon found for him. And then, last Bumblebee review, I brought him back, so that way we could do comparisons. So let me take his gun off. And just, like I said, I was not upset by this car mode in the slightest. The stripes don't continue to the window like this one does, which bugged me a little bit, but it is a different, I don't know, it's not really a different component. I don't think there is a line there, but it's more to represent the trunk than anything else, so I'm not sure why they didn't paint the stripe all the way. And it's got more paint on the back for sure. It's got similar amount of paint on the front. So the car mode is not something I'm mad at. The car mode is alright, so we'll put him back off to the side. I think that's pretty much it for vehicle mode, so we'll go ahead and get to transformation. Alrighty, to start off transforming this guy, These little window pieces are attached to the roof here, and they're also attached to this thigh panel. That's what it's going to be. So detach it from the roof, and then detach it from the thigh panel like that, so you can see the tab there and the tab there, and then just rotate it forward on this double hinge so it's sitting up against the front of the car. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Alright, let's see. You can do different things in different orders on this guy. It doesn't matter too much, so I'm just going to fold this panel down and pull his arms out to the side a little bit so they're in these gaps where the doors were. And then I'm going to rotate this back up, and I'm going to focus on his legs. So, well, actually, before I focus on his legs, I'm going to pop, just like the classic Bumblebee, pop this real hood out of the way and rotate it back on its double hinge, just so that way it's out of my way for doing the feet. These panels can be tricky. You can either rotate them all the way down and try and get the wheel around them, but they are just frictioned in. They do pop off. So what I actually do is I rotate it partially down, and I just try and slide it between the. I try and slide it through between the wheel and this pinned hinge here. So I'll see if I can get that on camera, like that. That's what I try and do with it. So go ahead and get both of these out. And most of the time I actually unpeg his legs from each other before I do that, but it was actually kind of nice having them pegged together for stability's sake. So, and then you can fold the panels up onto his thighs, and that's where they're going to stay for the rest of the transformation. We'll split his legs, rotate his shin panels down to the bottom, and that will allow us to fold these the rest of the way and snap them in to place. Rotate the windows in, rotate the shin panels down, and then the feet work the same way, where you slide it in, rotate it, and then finish sliding it in. And if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, you'll notice that something's off here. If you have the figure, you know what it is. But his legs are inside out and his waist is backwards. So you're going to rotate him at the waist, and then you're going to rotate his legs at the knee, because his thigh swivel is in his just above the knee, and there, his legs are the right orientation. And like I said in the other review, they did that so that way this tilt here, this panel's getting in the way a little bit, is on the inside. So now, spoilers for articulation, but his ankle tilt goes the right way. Alright, continuing on to the upper body, we'll go ahead and what do we want to do next? I guess we'll just detach these panels up here and just snap them out. They are, you really do have to snap them out. They don't just swing out nicely, because they're at an angle that prevents that. He's doing a split here. Let me stand you here and raise the camera up a little. How about that? We'll take his front light sections, pull them out on their sliders, rotate them down, and then they will slide back in, and they're little notches, little notches right next to the faux chest piece, and they're little tabs that'll just click in to those notches. It locks them in decent, and so it's not just a resting point. Then we can fold this chest piece down, and there's just a groove that'll sit right in here. This doesn't plug in per se, but when you fold it down on this groove, it's not just flapping up. You have to actually you have to move it forward in order for the chest to flap up, so it's not going to be flopping all over the place. We'll take these and rotate them back, and then the arms will come up on that yellow double hinge there and pop into his shoulder. Pop into his shoulder. get the chest rotated. Rotate his forearms so that way they were this way. Now we're going to rotate them so they're facing forward, and then you actually pop this piece out by pressing down here to pop the elbow armor, I guess, if you want to call it that, out. Then you can kind of just do what you want with the shoulders. I'm just going to push them all the way up to angle them up. We'll go ahead and make sure he's going to stand right. For the backpack, we'll fold this in and then fold this in like the Camaro Bumblebee, but unlike that one, there's actually a tab outside, like that juts out, so the window actually hooks up under that. And so it's not just going to flop out. You have to actually fold it out so it locks in a little better. And then, like every other Bumblebee, after the masterpiece, you fold these little armatures down on the wings, and then you can just position his doors how you want them. If you want my personal take on it, I get the hinge that the door is on in the gap left by the transforming stuff, and then I just give the doors a push so that they're angled until they hit it, and that's how I splay the doors out. The chest folded out a little bit. There he is in his robot mode. We'll go ahead and zoom in and take a look. Now, if you have any version of this Bumblebee, you can actually rip this head off and put it on this guy if you want an unmasked version. I actually have an extra version of this guy's head for that very purpose. I can't remember why I have it, but I do. And so that's what was on him until I decided to do this review, so I actually had to go swap it out and find this head, and it wasn't in my extra parts bin, it was somewhere else. But he's got his battle mask look, cleanly tampoed Autobot logo. The little eye visor bits are painted. You got some black on his head. He's got those molded in collarbone pieces. The chest looks pretty good. The paint is good here with the stripes, but there's nothing in the middle. I would have liked to see that painted. Oh, his foot's coming loose. There we go. But what can you do? His arms are actually molded in the, I want to say the same gray that this is, but there's silver paint, and then, or no, it's molded in yellow, and they've just painted the silver. My mistake. For some of these Bumblebees, they have the yellow painted. Some of them have the silver painted. That gets all confusing in my head. Now, because this component snaps open for transformation, they were able to make the arm gray and make the armor piece yellow and paint a little silver on it, so it's got nice color breakup, and they didn't have to paint the forearm. I mean, they didn't paint it silver like the upper arm or anything, but it's not terrible. You've got all the little pistony details here in his waist. This area looks like it's molded black, just kind of stands out a little bit. No paint on his upper legs at all, just gray plastic with the yellow armor, but that's fine. It's Bumblebee enough. The lower leg, the additional paint you get is the silver here on the legs, just like up on the arms. And then his feet are actually molded black with a little painted yellow, which is better than just molded yellow with no paint at all. And then of course you've got the stuff in the car mode that was painted. Coming up the back, no additional paint on his back, but you do have, this panel has a little bit of molded detail to make it look like, you know, his back. And then you've got the stand adapter is here instead of you having to try and clip it up under there, so that's kind of nice. And then you've got your door wings doing their thing. Like I said, this is how I have them sitting. And then you've got the real hood behind his head with the fake hood here, but that's pretty standard Bumblebee at this point. So there's his what it looks like, I guess. And we'll go ahead and do articulation. For articulation, the head is on a ball joint, which is why you can snap it off. You can, if you angle it up, get a full 360, just like the Camaro Classic, but mostly you just need to turn it like that. And then you can look up a little bit down a little bit. I don't think there's really any tilt, not to a really noticeable degree. The wings flap, and these rotate up and down, so you can do whatever you want there. Like I said, I have my standard configuration. You've got a ball joint that is on a hinge in the shoulder, so you can kind of do what you want as far as his shoulder height goes, or you can rotate that up and down. And then you've got the ball joint in the shoulder, and it'll do a full 360 until it runs into the kibble, so you could raise this up to get his arm back farther if you wanted. The elbows are ball jointed, so they can move up at a little over 90-degree bend, I would say, and then you can actually rotate them a full 360 on the ball joint. The hands aren't articulated in any way. They don't bend, the thumb doesn't move. They are molded in a way that they're open, and then when he has his gun, his arm will transform into the gun, so it's cool that they're not just fists. But unlike other Bumblebees, they don't look just like his hand is straight with his thumb sticking out. They're kind of molded at almost like he's in a stance where he's ready to do something. Of course, he's got a waist swivel because of transformation. The backpack doesn't get in the way too much. You just got to kind of fold it out of the way and then push it back in. It moves literally this far when you rotate it around, so it's nothing to get mad about. He's got ball jointed hips, full forward. Back is a little hindered by his backpack, but like I said, you could always fold that out if you want to. I'm not going to. And then you've got pretty much the full split. He's got a bend at his knee, 90 degrees, and that's also where the swivel is, because this yellow inner mechanism piece is where the knee swivel is. And then, like I mentioned earlier, as long as this doesn't get caught on it, he's got inward ankle tilt as opposed to outward ankle tilt. So we'll get him stood back in a meaningful way here, instead of just looking like he's been used for an articulation demonstration. And we'll go ahead. You can take his gun. It has a port on the handle that is for plugging into the stand adapter port area. So you can plug it in back here, or you can just put the port into his hand. So he's got his little gun arm. If it was painted, would it be better? Yes. Am I really that upset that it's not painted? No. It's pretty standard for this size class not to have painted weapons. Even I know he had a lot of them, so that might be their excuse, but the Last Night Hound had just molded gray weapons with no paint. So alright, we'll go ahead and we'll get into some size comparisons. Alrighty, first of all, the Rubik's Cube. As always, I really wouldn't mind getting a bigger version of this that does have the Allspark stuff on it, just because I think it would be fun to go along with figures like this. We've got our Gore Magala statue there. We have his Bumblebee movie counterpart. I put the other head back on it because the ears on the battle head were still too loose, so I got to work with them still the next time I do work on my figures. But these ears stay pretty good, so that's the head he's going to have. And then for comparison with his lesser and last time's deluxe is the Camaro Classic Bumblebee. I have his gun on his butt because it's helping him stand because of his loose hips. And you can see, just looking at the arms, he looks very thin here. He's got the bulked out armor. The legs, this sits much nicer than these. The back of the car stuff is on the outside, so it's not just clunking up the middle. The ankle goes the right way on this one, and then turning them to the side, you can see how his backpack juts out even when it's collapsed in. It's hanging out here, and his does too, but it's kind of curving outward this way. This is so easy to get caught on stuff and just pull his whole backpack out because it's not as sturdily held in as this one, and it's in a way that it's going to catch stuff more. This is smooth, so it'll kind of slide off of things if it gets caught on stuff. This is just going to hook. Oh, there he goes. Going to hook right onto stuff. But like I said, this guy, I wouldn't be as mad at this guy if he didn't come with Charlie because he's the wrong Bumblebee for it, or if they had actually bothered to give him more paint. Here's the painted yellow, like I was saying earlier. Sometimes they'll paint it yellow. The arms are decent, but he could have used some paint here. He could have used definitely some paint on his feet. I think they just dropped the ball on this version of this figure. As a Bumblebee from the same movie as this guy, he's alright. If I fix his hips, he'll be alright. He's better than the original Studio Series 1 because he's got that pin and all the other problems carried over. But he's alright. He's not bad, he's not good. But for a Bumblebee movie Camaro Classic Bumblebee, he's garbage. That's about it for my review of Studio Series Concept Camaro Bumblebee. Like I said, I don't remember what his number is, so I'll be looking that up when I post the review. This is coming out Wednesday, so we just watched Smokescreen Monday, and then Friday is going to be Dinobot. This is going to be my last Wednesday review unless I decide to do Studio Series Sentinel Prime next Wednesday, because one of my friends was interested in buying it, and if I need the money, I might sell it to him if he has the money, and if I don't, then I'll keep it. But I'll see you guys Friday for Dinobot. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and give the video a like, subscribe if you haven't, if you would like to, and if you have suggestions or comments, or my video helped you in any way, go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll see you Friday.